David, waited so many years to see your face again.
Mother, I didn't know you would still be here.
Still be here? My son, where else would I go?
Mom, I promise I will never forget.
Those were the words of a little boy who loved his mother more than anything. But years later, success changed everything. Before David became a respected businessman, before people knew his name, he was only a poor village boy raised by a mother who refused to let poverty decide his future. Grace had lost her husband when David was still young. From that day, she carried two responsibilities on her shoulders: raising her son and protecting his dreams. Every morning, before sunrise, while the village was still sleeping, Grace was already working. She farmed, cooked, sewed clothes, and sold whatever she could find. Not because she wanted a comfortable life for herself, but because she wanted her son to have a chance at a better one. David was not blind to his mother's sacrifice. He saw the tired hands that prepared his meals. He saw the old clothes she repaired instead of replacing. He saw the dreams she quietly buried so his dreams could survive. One evening, while sitting beside his mother under the old tree near their home, David made a promise. He told her that one day he would build her a beautiful house. But Grace did not ask for wealth. She only asked for one thing: never forget where you came from.
Years passed. The little boy who once walked barefoot through village roads became a man standing among skyscrapers. David finally achieved the success he dreamed about. But somewhere between his first achievement and his greatest success, he slowly forgot the person who made his journey possible. The little boy who once walked through the dusty roads of Noro village carrying nothing but a dream had finally become the man everyone admired. Years passed and David Nkem's life changed completely. The boy who studied under a small lantern became a successful businessman in the heart of Amani city. He had a beautiful office, a respected name, and everything people believed represented success. People looked at David and saw a man who had defeated poverty. They saw his expensive clothes, they saw his company, they saw the life he built. But they did not see the quiet emptiness he carried inside. Because behind every achievement was a woman who had sacrificed everything to make that dream possible. His mother, Grace. At first, David still remembered the promise he made. The promise to never forget where he came from. Sometimes, when the city became quiet, he would look at the old photograph of himself and his mother. He remembered the small house, the old tree, the hands that worked until they were tired just so he could have a better future. But success has a strange way of changing people. Slowly, new voices entered David's life. People who told him that the past was something he needed to leave behind. Among them was Victor Kane, a powerful businessman who saw David's ambition and knew exactly how to use it. David, successful people don't look backward. They keep moving forward. At first, David believed Victor was only teaching him how to succeed. But without realizing it, he was slowly becoming distant from the people who loved him before success arrived. His mother's calls became shorter. Her messages remained unanswered for longer. Not because David stopped loving her,
but because he convinced himself that he was too busy building the future. Every time Grace called, David found another reason to delay. Another meeting, another business problem, another excuse. Meanwhile, far away from the bright lights of the city, an old woman continued waiting. Grace did not ask for money. She did not ask for expensive gifts. She only wanted to hear her son's voice. Some nights, she sat beside the phone, holding the old photograph of the little boy she raised. The same boy who once promised he would never forget her. But the distance between them was growing. David was building a bigger world, while slowly losing the one person who had believed in him before anyone else did. To everyone watching from the outside, David had everything. But life was preparing a lesson he never expected. Because sometimes, the greatest fall does not happen when you lose your money. It happens when you finally realize what you lost while chasing it. Success made David believe he was in control. Every decision seemed to bring him even greater rewards. So, when an opportunity came to expand his company across the country, he didn't hesitate. He invested everything. His savings, his reputation, his future. For a while, it looked like the best decision of his life. But success can disappear much faster than it arrives. The market changed. Investors withdrew. Projects stopped. One by one, everything David had spent years began to collapse. The office that once welcomed him with applause became a place filled with silence. Employees packed their belongings. Phones stopped ringing. Business partners disappeared. The people who once called him a genius now avoided his name. When David turned to Victor, he found only another closed door. David, Victor, we can fix this. Victor, I already fixed my side. That was the moment David realized some people stay only while the sun is shining. The bank reclaimed his office, his luxury apartment, his expensive car. Within weeks, the man who seemed to have everything had almost nothing left. For the first time in years, David was completely alone. He opened his phone, and for the first time in months, he searched for one name: Grace. He stared at the screen for several minutes, unsure whether he still had the right to call. He remembered every message he never answered, every birthday he missed, every promise he broke. Shame became heavier than poverty had ever been. So instead of making the call, David bought a bus ticket. He was finally going home. The journey back to Noru village felt longer than any journey David had ever taken. Not because of the distance, but because every mile carried the weight of his regret. Outside the bus window, the same green fields, the same dusty roads, the same village he once dreamed of escaping, now welcomed him back with silence. When David stepped off the bus, everything looked familiar, but he no longer felt like he belonged. The old mango tree still stood proudly. The small houses had hardly changed. Children still laughed along the village road. But David's heart felt heavier with every step. He slowly walked towards the house he had promised to replace. The same old wooden door, the same clay walls, the same home where a mother's love had never changed. Then he saw her. Grace. She was sitting quietly outside. Her hands were weaker. Her hair had turned grey. But every evening, she still looked toward the road, as if she believed one day her son would come home. David stopped walking. His eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years, he could not find the words. Mom. Grace slowly looked up. For a moment, she wasn't sure if the man standing before her was real. David, is it really you? He nodded, but shame kept him from taking another step. He remembered every phone call he ignored, every excuse he made, every birthday he missed. He lowered his head. I'm sorry. Those two words carried years of regret. Grace slowly stood. She walked toward her son. Neither of them spoke. For a moment, only tears spoke. Grace gently touched David's face, the same way she had done when he was a little boy. You finally came home. David fell to his knees. He cried like the little boy who once promised he would never forget. And for the first time in many years, he wasn't a businessman. He wasn't successful. He wasn't respected. He was simply a son. The next morning, for the first time in many years, David woke up to the sound of birds instead of ringing phones. He walked through the same village where he had once dreamed of living forever. But now, he saw it with different eyes. He saw the neighbors who had watched him grow, the old well where his mother fetched water, the mango tree that had witnessed a little boy make a promise. Everything he had forgotten was still waiting for him. David spent the following days beside his mother. They shared simple meals. They laughed. They remembered. And sometimes, they simply sat together in silence. He finally understood. The greatest gift he could give his mother was not money. It was his time. Months later, David restored the old family home. Not to erase its past, but to protect the memories it held. He built stronger walls, a safer roof, a beautiful garden. But he refused to cut down the old mango tree, because that tree reminded him of a promise and of the woman who never stopped believing in him. David also created a scholarship for children in Nuru village so that no child with a dream would lose hope because of poverty. When people asked him why he returned, David always gave the same answer. My greatest success wasn't becoming rich. It was finding my way back home. Grace smiled every time she heard those words. She had never needed a wealthy son. She only wanted the little boy who once held her hand and promised he would never
forget. The world may celebrate success, but the people who love us celebrate our presence. Never become so busy building your future, but you forget the hands that helped build you. Grace, I'm proud of the man you became. David, I became that man because of you. Some promises are delayed by life, but the most beautiful ones find their way home. Please subscribe for more stories.